third Monday of the month, which is today, if I got that right, and if not, just pretend, is Sutta Monday. And if you don't know, the word sutta is an ancient word from the Pali language. The earliest recorded teachings of the historical Buddha, who was born 2,600 years ago in India, taught for 45 to 49 years, depending on which scholar you prefer, and then died. The earliest of his recorded teachings are collected in a body called the Sutta Pitaka, recorded in the Pali language. The word sutta is one of those amazing ancient words that has a whole bunch of, like a cloud of meaning. Sutta is the same root from where we get the word suture. We're sewing something together. Also, if you think about, a thread of a conversation, like you're having a conversation and it's like bound together by a theme. And so generally speaking, the suttas are records of things that the Buddha said, usually in response to a question, or if the old man really wanted to say something that day. And after his passing, the night of his passing actually, his students got together and all sat together and did this game of, what did he say to you? What did he say to you? What did he say to you? And then triangulating and like, I was here. He actually said this, and did this whole kind of trying to preserve his teachings so that they would not perish. In one of these suttas, called the Satipatthana Sutta, the Buddha gave his kind of big macro architecture blueprint for the practice of meditation. And this idea of mindfulness that we get in the secular West very much is from this tradition of Satipatthana. And even the word Satipatthana is one of those interesting words taken apart. And a really good translation for it is the four arousings of mindfulness, or the four frames, or the four pastures of mindfulness. Four places in our lives, in our experience, where we can practice this mindfulness, this way of being present to our experience that is so profoundly powerful. Since it's Sutta Monday, if you'll indulge me, I wanted to share a couple chants that are generally chanted whenever the suttas are being taught. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. I bow to the fortunate one, to the worthy one, to the fully self-awakened one. Samanta chakaleleshu adragachantu devata sadhamang muni rajasa sugantu sagamokhadam. From all around the world, from all galaxies, may the devas and all beings come here. May they listen to the teachings of the King of Sages that leads to joy, pleasure, and liberation. Now, this portion of the Satipatthana Sutta is a very short piece that I wanted to talk about tonight. And rather than chant it in the Pali, I'll just read the translation. Ardent, clearly knowing and mindful, setting aside desire and discontent regarding anything in the world. This is his shorthand. It's like a refrain in this sutta for how one should practice. And it's repeated every time he gives a new kind of frame or object or thing to practice with. And this is the way this whole sutta is structured. The four arousings or the four foundations of mindfulness that are talked about in this text are mindfulness of the body, which includes breath, posture, kind of whatever the body's doing at a given moment. Mindfulness of feeling tone, which includes all the way from the most basic, raw kind of something hits our experience like, oh, my knee hurts, and I go, oh, I don't like that. So unpleasant feeling. Or pleasant feeling, like, ooh, I like the smell of that incense while I sit. That's nice, I like that. Or neither pleasant nor unpleasant. Things that kind of, I don't have a lot of skin in the game around. And usually those things kind of pass without my noticing. I'm usually too busy involved in the push and pull of things I like or don't like. So that's what he calls Vedana, feeling tone, mindfulness of feeling tone. Third is mindfulness of mind, or mind objects. You know, what's my mind doing? What am I thinking about? What's the quality of sensory clarity, concentration, attention? What's going on in there? And then finally, mindfulness of dhammas. Mindfulness of kind of the macro themes of what's going on within me and how they apply to the ways I cling and get caught and suffer, or the ways in which I unravel and let go, and thereby stop suffering and have joy, happiness. And so each of these frames, and really anything that touches our field of awareness, this is his advice of how to regard them. Ardent, you know, it's a kind of an old-fashioned word. It's a very romantic word, like someone's like thinking of their beloved constantly. They can't let it go. He says, dwell ardent. Whatever you're doing, whatever you are bringing your attention to, do it ardently. Do it with great diligence, with some, dare I say, intensity. Do it with your whole being. Clearly knowing this is the most fundamental. Sitting in that seat, the little girl around like 9 or 10 asked me one day, her mom brought her, how do I know when I'm meditating or not? It's the most brilliant meditation question I'd ever heard, and it's the first time it ever got asked of me, and I panicked, because, you know, you're like, and I said, meditation is when you know what you're doing when you're doing it. And that's what that word, clearly knowing, is. Sampajana, with knowing, clearly knowing. I'm sitting, I'm breathing. I can feel my hands in my lap, etc., etc., etc. It's almost like actually arriving, because how rarely do we actually arrive? Usually when I'm driving to work, I'm at least mentally or emotionally, I'm already at work. We were just watching Empire Strikes Back the other night, and that scene where Yoda is refusing to teach Luke Skywalker the way of the Jedi. He says, you, always somewhere else, dreaming in the future and the past, paying no attention to where you are, what you are doing, poking with his little stick. I'm sitting there like, oh, hell yeah. This is like, Yoda gets it. Yeah. You actually have to show up for your life. Clearly knowing and mindful. This word mindful gets abused a lot. That's fine. I'm glad it's very popular. And I'm glad a lot more people say it. Even though if you've ever been to a work meeting and somebody says, be mindful of your TPS reports or be mindful of how much, AR time you're using, and you're like, I swear to God, you say that word again. So just be mindful. So, but what does it really mean? Mindfulness is that quality of open, soft, spacious attention. In fact, the Buddha generally says those two words together. Sati, which is mindful, and sampajana, clearly knowing. Sati sampajana, that's like his favorite compound word that he made up, and he says it all the damn time in the suttas. Mindful, clearly knowing. So it's this wide open, restful in a way, clearly knowing what you're doing. It's not the kind of rest where you're numbing out scrolling your favorite website or flipping channels or watching something on Netflix you've seen 100 times before. It's the restful of like actually showing up in your body, in your experience. Clearly knowing what's going on. And that kind of way of being, modern neuroscience tells us, is incredibly rejuvenative. It's a powerful way of soothing our nervous systems and even bringing healing to the body. If you're in a state of stress, you can't digest, you can't heal. Coming into physiological rest, the body is free to send its energy elsewhere and take care of this and that. And if you actually start training yourself to be able to drop into this soft, open, gentle, clear knowing. And it doesn't hurt to me. I love the word sampajana, with clear knowing, because even the word Buddha, it's alternately translated the one who woke up and the one who is knowing. This buddhi is that quality of knowing. So it's a perfect tie-in. Your awareness always knows. It's always operating. For some of us, maybe some of us who've been meditating a long time, we get caught in this loop of trying to have a good meditation. That's like trying to relax. It's probably working at cross purposes, probably not going to work so well. So I want to invite you to sit with this orientation. Ardent, so collected, bringing the wholeness, your totality to your experience. Clearly knowing, so it's bright, it's alert, mindful, wide open, soft, completely unbroken circle. Everything is welcome here. Okay? And we'll do a little guided portion at the front and a little silent portion at the back. And one way that it always helps me to conceptualize a good orientation for meditating in this soft, open way is to think, there is nowhere else to go. there is nothing else to do. There is no one else to be. Before the guided portion, I want to invite you to sit in a comfortable way and just take maybe 2 minutes and just notice how it feels to be you right now. What does it feel like in body, in the heart, mind, nervous system? With no need to change it, just noticing. Now the sound of my voice is just another sound with no more or less intrinsic importance than any other sound. But if you like, you'd be welcome to follow along. I invite you to notice the sensation of your feet or ankles or knees or shins upon the ground. Feeling the pressure, the warmth perhaps, or maybe your feet are cold. I invite you to breathe into those places in your body that are making contact with the ground. And let the breath carry your most clear attention into those places. we bring our most ardent attention clearly knowing and with this mindfulness that is not looking for any specific experience or sensation, completely open, just noticing what's present, noticing perhaps your hands upon your lap, warmth and pressure, noticing backs of your thighs, sit bones or buttocks in the chair or cushion, and again allowing the breath and the attention to flow into those places. Noticing anything that stands out to you in your experience. For me, my right knee is letting me know that it's not happy, so I'm giving it my attention. In this open and clear, non-judgmental way, I'm free to simply notice the sensations of my knee. And at your leisure, I invite you to expand your field of attention so it's your whole body. With each breath, feeling your whole body. So I invite you to either stay exactly as you are, or move, wriggle,